If you would like to access and reclaim all of the ancestral wealth that is due to you, that you did not receive in this life, but you know is meant for you, the first step is understanding who your ancestors really were. And that will allow you to fully understand who you really are. If you don't know who you are, then how can you receive true wealth? You will only ever be able to receive a limited version of what is due to you, of what you're meant to have in this life, to live your fullest, richest life and show your ancestors, show the presence of your ancestors still here today, that you are not only deserving of the role of stewarding their wealth, but also that you'll be willing to fully receive it and do good with it and enjoy it fully without reservations. The proof of that comes in knowing who you are. It's not about performing. And this is the important thing that we really need to understand, is that we've been taught that wealth comes as a reward for performance. And it's in fact the exact opposite. Your performance is actually going to restrict you from wealth. That feeling like you have to be good enough and measure up, that's not by your standards, and it's not by your ancestral standards either. It's by standards that have been artificially imposed on you by the same people who don't want you to know who you really are and who don't want you to know who your ancestors really were. So this is very important to understand, because when the people don't know who they are, they become easier to control. So what more efficient way to control the people than to cut them off from the knowledge of their ancestors? This is very important to understand, that every one of us in this world today, there have been efforts made, efforts and resources devoted, a lot of money, time, and energy devoted by those in power to make sure that we do not know who our ancestors really were. And of course, this is compounded depending on your personal situation. Some folks were adopted, some people are estranged from their families, some people's ancestors were enslaved. Some people's ancestors had to run from something. In fact, that's virtually all of us living in the West. Our ancestors had to run from something oppressive, and that's the reason why we're here today. And in that process, there was a need to control, a perceived need to control the people for the survival of the people. Whether that's true or not, we can debate that later. But what we do know now is that we have access to reclaim those parts of ourselves that have been taken away. And it's time for us to take advantage of that opportunity, because we don't know what's next in history for us. We don't know what's coming in this world. Now is the time that we could really be making some crucial decisions and direct the future of our own lives, direct the future of our descendants' lives, the next generation. And that ripples out, that translates to our whole community, to all of humanity. So high stakes, right? And you might be feeling nervous. You might be feeling like, oh, I've really got to get this right. Am I going to do this right? And I want to break you free from that need to perform, because it doesn't have to be so hard. It can actually be easy. It can be unlocked in an instant, in a moment. And when will that moment come for you? I can't tell you, but I do know that that is a function of your willingness to receive new information and understand and accept that you have a genuine, authentic self that is not what you've been told. So we're going to go back in time. And depending on your lineage, how far back in time you need to go, well, that depends on who you are and who your ancestors were. So for some of us, we need to go back 2,500 years, approximately. Others need to go back 3,000 years, and others need to go back 4,000, 5,000 years. People call this generally the Neolithic era. I like to call it the pre-imperial era, because the exact point in time is going to be different based on your culture. But the main premise is this is how we lived before empires. This is how we lived before we had the need and the want to conquer, pillage, steal, assault, and take by force what we thought we needed. And this can be fuel, food, anything for survival. But of course, it's not just about survival. It's so people who had more than others could continue to hoard wealth because they were afraid of losing what they had. And because of this fear came a need to control, and out of fear and control arose the empires. We need to go back to a time before we needed those empires, or before we thought we needed those empires, because we have to ask, did we ever truly need them? Or was that just a misperception? Was that just too much fear? So we need to really find that out. We need to ask the hard questions about our people. Who were we before that all happened? What role did we have to play? Because we all had special roles to play, and those roles were not forced upon us. They were divinely ordained. And when I say divinely, I'm not binding myself to a particular religion, especially the religions in this modern age. I'm just saying that we had a sense that we were meant to be in the roles that we played, not that someone else was forcing us to be in those roles. So there's a very big difference. Do we have the freedom, or are we acting due to control? Others controlling us, or our own need to control our own lives and restrict ourselves from abundance? We need to be letting go of that need to control the level of life that we're meant to experience, the level of richness that we're meant to experience. And when we can let go of control, it doesn't mean we're going to be haphazard. It doesn't mean we're going to be sloppy. It doesn't mean we're going to be irresponsible. It means that we're going to fully receive what we're meant to have. We're going to receive it from the earth. We're going to receive it from the inside of our souls. And of course, from our ancestral history, our pre-imperial history, when our people were truly rich because we lived in harmony with the land, and because we lived in harmony with all living beings, and because we lived in harmony with each other, and we could have equitable trade and equitable interactions with each other, mutual support, where I give to you, you give to me, we support each other, we feel great about it, and we create something out of nothing. We create value, we create wealth that was not there before. So we all need to be accessing that time. We need to go back. So this goes beyond Ancestry.com. This goes beyond mapping out your family tree. This is not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about a time that was not recorded very much in history, a time where the history has been erased, hidden, destroyed, and warped. Because you can read about your people, and you might have this feeling when you read about your people way back in history. You read about who they could have been, and you're like, that does not seem quite right. There's something off about that. There's something off about the way my people are being portrayed and what happened to them and who we were. It doesn't feel right. I don't feel it in my bones. I don't feel it in my soul. And if you have that feeling, that is a clue that you need to look deeper. And it's not about finding the book that has the answers, although some books do give you guidance. But how are you going to attract those books to you? How are you going to attract those resources to you, those mentors to you? The art, whatever's been preserved, whatever broken pieces are still preserved in the museums, being trapped there, not being given back to the people. Well, why? Why is that? And we need to be asking those hard questions. Who were my people? Who were we really? How rich were we? Because whatever they're saying, it's not true. And I don't care who you are. I don't care what race you are. I don't care what culture you come from. Because the labels of race and culture that are given to us also come with this overlaying of empire and the need to control. So we need to look beyond that if we're going to access how wealthy we really are as a people, as your unique people, your unique lineage. So we're not going to borrow from someone else's lineage to stand in for our own, although for a time that may feel resonant. And that's because we are all truly connected through migration, through our lineage and through our history in indirect and direct ways, and we may find resonance with a culture that preserved its rich way of being. And you might say, that sounds familiar. I feel that on a soul level. But we're never going to get the complete picture until we understand who our people really were. And this is going to be tough in one way and one way only. Okay, I say in all other ways it's easy. It's only tough in one way. And the one way that it's tough is the stigma. It is that fear of being isolated, of being ostracized by the people who uphold the mainstream beliefs about who you really are. If you start saying, well, I don't believe what those history books say. I don't believe what this person and that expert over there says. I don't believe what everybody else believes about my own people. I believe something else. And then the other people will look at you and say, well, where's the proof? What are you talking about? That's not true. The fear comes up, and that's the fear, an innate, natural human survival fear of being ostracized. And that's the only one way that this work is tough for us. In every other way, it's easy. And this is what you need to trust, is that as long as you can let go of the need to please other people's standards, as long as you can let go of the need to let other people define who you really are, you can access and reclaim your ancestral wealth. That is all you need to do. And when you are fully willing to do that, it happens easily and instantly, and it's an ever-growing, ever-evolving, beautiful journey of a process. Again, not without challenges, because we are social creatures. We feel like we need the approval of other people. But the more you grow, the more you understand who you are, the more you'll be able to let go of that need to please people who only seek to control you. The control is not love. The control is not care. The control that largely rises out of fear, that is meant to keep you in poverty. It lives in other people. Yes, you might perceive, okay, other people are trying to control me, whoever that may be. Whoever we've decided to be the leaders and the standard setters for who we really are, whoever we've decided to let label us as who we are. But it comes from within us as well, because we've learned to control ourselves. It's very expensive for other people to control us by force. They have to train us. Way more efficient for them to train us to control ourselves. And then when we have children, we train them to control themselves in certain ways and to put limitations on themselves. So this is how the damage gets done generation after generation. And that's why I'm telling you to go back thousands of years to undo it. You do have access. It's not in the history books. It's within you. It's within your blood, bones, DNA. You carry a millennia-long ancestral lineage in your body. It's a beautiful gift, because so far, no one can take that away from you. Your aliveness in your body. No one can take that away from you today. So take advantage of this opportunity. Go back and ask. And you're saying, oh, ask who? Ask who? Where do I look? Do I Google search it? What do I do? Ask in here. Who am I? It can be as simple as just asking that question. Who am I? If you ask it earnestly, you will start to get a trickle of answers. You will start to get clues. Who am I? Who were my people? Really, who were my people? Because when you know that, you have a richness that no one else has. And when you have something so rare, you never have to worry again about having your needs met. You will have the wealth you deserve. And you will know in your heart that you deserve it. Not because anyone else told you that you deserve it, but because you do inherently. And that is simply the truth. That's exactly what your ancestors want for you. Because that's what we want for our descendants. We want our descendants to be happy, safe, cared for. Your ancestors want all of that for you. And they want you to achieve your dreams. No matter what those dreams are, they want that for you. Can you feel that love and care coming from them? If you can't, ask for it. Ask to feel it. That's just the first step.